Hello and welcome to another video, another Decorate With Me. You just saw, or maybe not just, but the previous video was our outside decorations. Well, now we're moving on to the inside, and I can tell you, as much as I love the outside, the inside is the big kahuna here. The inside is where most of the decorations went, most of my time went, most of my love went. And to kind of give you a sense of how happy I am with how it turned out, I'll tell you, when I finished decorating, which was only a few days ago, I did a voice recording to a friend, and when I described how it made me feel to look around and see my home feel exactly what I wanted it to feel, I cried, because I am a big believer in dreams. I mean, it's a theme in Harry Potter, is dreaming, is hoping, is believing in magic. And I think magic happens, and I think it can happen with our hands and our minds and our hearts especially. And I had a dream to do a Harry Potter dark arts theme. And we did it in a somewhat short period of time. We acquired a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that the result is beyond my expectations. It is so many of my ideas compiled in one, and there are so many more ideas that are going to come in future years, because we are keeping this theme and we are just next leveling it. And as much as I'm excited for Christmas decorations, which will also be Harry Potter themed, I'm gonna have a hard time taking these down because I love them so much and I love darkness a lot. But this is gonna be a longer video, so please stick around. We're gonna get to some before and afters at the end. But before we do that, let me show you what we were working with, how much stuff we had, and do a little decorate with me and show the whole process of putting everything up. So let's get started. So first of all, we have this here, which is my dining room table. And these are all of the pillows and blankets. But that's not it. We have more. Let me show you the rest. Over here, on the other side of the dining table, are the brooms, the pumpkins, more pumpkins, more pumpkins, filler stuff, spider webs, creepy cloth, light bulbs, that sort of stuff. Don't look over there. Over here we have old Halloween stuff, Funko Pops, so some of the new stuff that you saw in the Harry Potter halls. This is where it begins. These are my stairs to my third floor. This is what I'm dealing with. But no. Oh, no. It keeps going. It keeps going all the way up my stairs. What am I getting myself into? This is insanity. Before we begin with any other decorations, the first thing I like to do is to swap out our Trader Joe's cinnamon broom for a brand new one so that the house just smells amazing. And then I'm also swapping out, because I'm already over there, my apron for the one I got at Joann's. But the other big change we're going to make before we do any decorations involves the wall behind the bookshelves. And it's a pretty big change, and you will see that coming up next.
So it has been a few days and we made a pretty big change that you can probably see behind me, which is we painted our wall black. And it's like a matte black color because black comes in all kinds of shades. And if you don't know, black is my favorite color and it is for sure a color. But it looks amazing. It looks amazing. I mean, I was nervous about it. It was a pretty big change. I mean, we have like separation between sort of rooms, even though this is almost like a studio apartment, our second floor. It feels like it has belonged here this entire time. And I love it. And everything that we put on the shelves looks, I'm telling you, okay? Let me show you a couple things. So I did the painting and removing of the brackets, and my husband put the brackets back in and put the shelves on. And while he was doing that, I was going to say I did a DIY, but I potted some plants in some pots that I showed you in previous hauls. So let me show you. The first one, I didn't even know I was going to like turn this into a plant pot, which is this little cauldron, which was from the Michaels haul. And I saw it and I was like, this plant would fit perfect in it because the pots previously were white. I had a white speckled one. And you know, we're trying to bring on the darkness like full on, okay? We're not messing around here. We're getting right into the evil, into the dark arts. And then the other one, if you remember, it needs watering, I could tell, is the one from World Market that has that nice green color and lines on it. And so I put the tall plant in that one. Oh, it's going to look beautiful. It already looks beautiful. But it is going to be a good day because we are decorating and I've let this stuff sit for a few days. It is October 1st, which is a good time to decorate. Hocus Pocus 2 came out yesterday, so we were watching that tonight, and I'm so excited. I think we're going to make like tacos or something, something fancy, and watch that. But if you can't tell, I don't sound the same because I feel like death, which is also fitting to be doing Halloween decorations. This is the bulk of our decorations, and to be doing them on October and while I feel like death. Okay. And I blame my cat for making me feel this way because, friends, I woke up in the morning and I had that scratchy feeling in the back of my throat, which you know what I'm talking about when you have like the cold or something. And I turned to get a sip of my water that it was next to me, and I witnessed my cat drinking out of my water. So in that moment, it dawned on me that this could be the cause of my illness. My cat gave me the plague is the result of my findings. Okay. So I, in turn, have a little bit of that scruffy, scratchy voice, which I think is kind of sexy, okay? And it happened when I was at work, like midway through the day, all of a sudden my voice just dropped a register. And I messaged my husband and I was like, you need to just like make sure you calm yourself down because this is it's a real turn on. And I came home and he was like, no, it's not doing anything for me. I'm not a fan. I like it, okay? I don't like feeling this way. But anyway, we need to get going. I need to throw my hair up. I need to sip some coffee. And we're going to start decorating the shelves. So let's get going.
I can say that this was probably the most fun part. Is that grammatically correct? Of all the decorations, because I mean, it's sort of the highlight of the space, and I really like that this space is it's like smack in the middle of this floor. And also, let me make a note that yes, I noticed that the footage is very fuzzy. We have learned that when this particular camera is zoomed out, this is my phone, it gets very fuzzy. So I promise you when we get to the afters, this is not the case. But what I'm really doing here is, figuring it out. What I tried to start with are a lot of the bigger items. I was working off of height because I started with the plants too and tried to play a little bit with balance, which is why you'll end up seeing later on that I needed a few more plants. But I'm working with like kind of the heavier stuff, the stuff that takes up more space, whether it's width-wise, height-wise, and just play. So as you can tell, I'm kind of doing a bit more framing than anything. So I have a lot of the outside framing going on, and then it starts becoming a little bit more filler. And yeah, because I mean, most of this stuff is new. And then these cloches here, you'll see later on that we do some pretty interesting things with them, but I needed to know the placement because they were going to take up space. So I needed to have proper kind of height and everything. Proper? I don't know. And also there are a lot of skulls. We had a lot of skulls. So I didn't want them condensed in one spot. So that was kind of like, well, you'll see the books that we got, sort of having them periodically spread throughout. So it feels a little bit more random than, like you could see these books here, than just very systematic and organized. I want it to feel like an oddities shelf. I will say I didn't put quite as much on the top shelf, which you won't notice as much in film, but I don't even really notice as much in person, but I'm also 5'2", so, you know, that could be it. And I'll add that there is still a good amount of decorations that I have not used. But I kind of like that. I like leaving room for more opportunity. I like, you know, with that top shelf, it does end up getting filled in a bit more, but it's a little bit more spacious than the other ones. But yeah, I had so much fun with this. It's going to be really hard to take down all of these stuff, and we're not taking all of them down, but to change it at all. It feels like it just really fits in here. So yeah, and then you will also see that divider shelf that I have on the right side, the white one. I end up doing some decorations with that, and I decided to do that off camera because I feel like, well, A, it was kind of fun to not have to set up the camera, but also I think it's nice to leave, again, something on the table. So when you guys come to the final reveal, you'll get to see that I did a bit more because I didn't want to leave it stark white. And also I wanted to pull back some of the things that feel a little bit brighter, happier, Christmassier, or just happier in general. So I darkened that divider up as well, the one that divides up this bookshelf area, which is actually my dining room, if you didn't tell, and in the living room next to it. And the other footage you're not going to see is the dining table. I did a little bit of a spread on the dining table, and that will come in the after as well, and it ended up being pretty cool. I find that less is more sometimes can really make a difference. So yeah, it was a lot of just trying to place stuff, like that cat you would have seen ended up in the outside video, and just playing around. Decorating is all about having fun, seeing what calls to you and where. It really does, though. When you kind of put something up, you step back and your gut is going to tell you, this works, this doesn't work. And I'm also playing with colors too. So you'll see the golds and the browns all sort of spread in different spots, just like the blacks, just like the greens and the plants. It's a sort of aiming for a natural balance. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just play. People just play. Remember to have fun with whatever you're doing, and decorating is so much fun. So thank you for joining me on this little space here. It's probably one of my favorite parts of that whole floor.
It's the worst day of my life. But Winnie, look what we have made. I discovered a sound.
So it is the next day, and I still feel awful. But Hocus Pocus 2, so much fun. So much fun. I have no complaints. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. But yeah, I feel worse. But it's that sort of like, I feel like it's that day that you hit your peak. So tomorrow will be better, but I can say, I think so far, my hair does not look like a bird's nest, because I look back at the footage and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But I did tell my husband that it reminds me of Bellatrix, so it's on theme. My ratty hair is on theme, but it's funny how your hair just also decides, it doesn't have the energy to maintain it because it needs to heal everything else. So we're trying to heal. We did a lot of tea and salt baths and all the things, but I've moved you over here because I don't want you to see the bookshelves yet, because they look bleeping amazing. Amazing. But we have a few bits more to do, and I want to show it in the final reveal. But I did go and pick up, because I want to pick up a few more things, and I picked up more plants. So we have these guys. I think I have a small pot for this one, but I like the purples that are in it. It will blend in. And then this one we picked out because my husband thought it looked like it was like a poisonous plant. But we want to pull in more plants on the bookshelves. And then it's a hot mess over here going through all the decorations. So I'm going to tidy all of that up, tidy up the kitchen, and then we're going to start decorating the kitchen. We're going to decorate more over in the living room area. We are waiting on some bits, some very important pieces to pull it all together for the living room. So I'm popping in for a DIY, which is a very basic DIY and quite essential to a Harry Potter at all. I was going to say dark arts and all that stuff. At all Halloween. Anybody you see, there aren't a lot of people that have done a Harry Potter Halloween, but anyone you see, this is essential. And that is the spiders climbing on the wall. If you remember in the Chamber of Secrets in Hagrid's hut, they are climbing up the wall, out the window, and to the Forbidden Forest. So I picked up these spiders, and they were from Walmart, and they came in a pack of 6. Half were a very bright glossy black, and half were gray. And the gray ones I spray painted a matte black, and it looked really good. And then I thought, I'm going to do it on the black ones to make them less glossy. Looked really good. So now they all look the same. The only problem, because they're just plastic with a fuzziness around them, the only problem is the inside was hollow, so I didn't have a way to stick them. So we filled the inside with an air drying clay, so not the oven baked clay, and then just spray painted it just so that the white wasn't, because we had a white one, wasn't as stark. And then I picked up this Gorilla mounting putty, which I remember as a kid like using this to put up movie and music posters and stuff like that, to stick to the wall. And I went with these because they're more three-dimensional. I didn't want to do the paper ones. I think the paper ones, sure, like at work I do that, but I want it to look more realistic. And these are a little more three-dimensional, they're fuzzy, all that sort of thing. Anyway, so I picked the wall right over here because it's next to a window. So I'm going to have it kind of coming out of our buffet, that's the word for that, and out toward the window. I might do the other side too, but let's get to sticking these spiders on the wall. So we just finished the spiders that are over in the corner there, but we also did another DIY that took a couple of days. And I didn't record that because we wanted to just like soak it in and, you know, really just enjoy it. And also we didn't know what we were doing. But I want to show you them a little bit more in detail and kind of show what we can do with some of these items that we purchase. So the first up, and these are all, there's one more DIY, but you'll see it in the after because it's pretty simplistic and you can kind of figure out what we did. But it's still cool. It's a cool effect. These are with the Noble Collection magical creatures lion that we got. So the first one, if you remember the anthropology cloche we got, this guy here, the only thing I did, because I just put Nagini in here, he seemed, she, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You got something on your fang there. She seemed like just fine without any addition. Sometimes, you know, adding something can be too much. And so you really gotta assess it. So all I did, if you remember that one, the base of the cloche was a very light wood. So I stained it. And at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, but my husband pointed out that it looked like it was burned, which, I mean, I think adds to the coolness. So yeah, those magical creatures can come out of the cases and out of what they're sitting on if you want to do something with them. So I think she looks really good, and very simplistic, and it's a smaller cloche. And then the next one we had two of those cloches that were the same size. I gotta be very careful with these. Is we have Aragog here. And at first I started building a base on the bottom to kind of raise him up, but this seemed like fine enough. And just the height giving it that like, oh, it's like, you know, this is a big deal that we caught this guy. So all we really did is add some moss to the base, color that really works with it. And for Aragog, we kept the base, not the base, but the second base that he's sitting on. So here he is up close. And you can see the moss. We didn't stain this. That's just the way it came. These were the cloches that we got for $10 at Michael's, I think. And this one, my husband did. I didn't trust myself to do this one. And it is the Dementor. And I'm just beyond impressed by it. It looks really cool when lit up. So, yeah, I don't know what else I was going to say there. But so here he is. And what's going on here, it looks really simple right now, but what's going on here is there's a clay base underneath, a modeling clay that he built a base for him to sit on. And it was an air drying one, so we had to give it like a full 24 hours to dry. And then he tried a few things like with wires and stuff, but it ended up being more simple and just taking some string lights, the very thin kind, the wiry kind, and a bright color, more of a blue light for him. And then just this like, you know, this stuff that's like advertised as snow that comes at Christmas time. We had from last Christmas, and we put that around. And once we turn the lights off, which you'll see in the after, and turn these lights, there's 2 sets in there because they're very small. It gives that vibe. Let me give like a close up, and we'll do little close-ups in the after, but it gives that vibe, especially when the kids are in the train and things are freezing over and it's foggy. So it's kind of trying to emit like a little fog vibe, and like he's really coming for you. So those were the DIYs that we did off camera, and you're gonna see them put together on this shelf. It looks so good, but we need to finish decorating.
So we are back in the living room, and we took a break from the living room because we were waiting on a few items that we are going to hang up, which are posters. And I will tell you, when we ordered these posters, we had a little bit of a hiccup. You will see when I hang them up, there's one that's a little different from the rest. And I really wanted that one to be Bellatrix, and you will see what I mean when we hang these up. But sadly, that seller did not accurately describe their listing, and for some reason, Bellatrix does not exist in a regular poster size of 24 by 36. So we made do, and we found something else, and we're going to make it work. And so that's what we're going to be doing right now, is hanging those posters up. Also, since we're showing off new things, and I've just been nonstop, excuse me, getting more stuff, picked up 2 more things. And they're not going in this room, but I'll show you anyway. And I got these from Mercari, and I thought they're Funkos. I thought that they would be really fitting for Halloween. And that is Sirius Black as Padfoot. Funko Pop. I didn't go with the flocked version because it was a lot pricier. Am I getting too close here? I don't know. And then, you know, the pair of Padfoot here is Remus Lupin as a werewolf. You'll get to see them a bit more when I take them out of the boxes, because I'm not a kind of person to keep Funkos in a box. I think that's weird, but you do you, okay? So these are probably going to go on the bookshelf or some form of shelf I think is appropriate. And we're going to put up the posters, and we're going to do like a little tablescape on the coffee table here. I don't want to go too much because I eat off of it when I'm watching something. But yeah, let's go hang these posters up that I've been waiting so long for. Okay, so our posters are up, and they look so good. We had to adjust them to make sure they were balanced. Even is the word. And so you'll see that in the final reveal. But right now, we are going to work on the coffee table. And I've already pre-planned it a little bit because I needed to see what decorations would work. I'm just not that kind of girl that can off-the-cuff stuff. I need to like play around with different areas. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, this is actually a lamp shade thing. It's supposed to wrap around a lamp, and I just placed it, and I was like, it seems fine to me. So we're going to put that, because I'm not putting too much on the coffee table since, like I said, we eat on it. But I think we can still manage that with the decorations we've got going on. So let's put them out. First is this guy, and it's got little, I'll show you, little spiders on it. But I want to keep it nice and dark. Let's get his sides going evenly. And then, my centerpiece here, am I good in the frame? I'm asking no one, is, oh God, the coffin. I put a little skeleton in there with some of the rocks that I got from the terrarium. Well, not from the terrarium, for a terrarium. And this is a terrarium. So, and then I threw little spiders in. So he's just like taking a bath with spiders. I couldn't figure a way to make it a little more Harry Pottery, but it's just a skeleton. So I think it works. So I'm going to put him as the centerpiece. Just hanging out right here. And then we thought these little moon candles that I did not apparently take the stickers off of. My word. Will go on either side. And I can't remember exactly how I did it before. I think we had like one over here, one over there. I'll probably fiddle around with it a little bit and it might look a little different. That's what I've been doing this whole time. And then we've got these pumpkins. I'm gonna put like in the corners here, I think. And then we have these little flicker lights. I think might, like I said, move them around a bit. And then we have these guys, just these little tea light black ones. Just pop them around. I feel like I want that over there. But yeah, we've adjusted a few things since recording everything and added some others because we have to leave a bit of surprise for you at the very end, so you'll see some things that you haven't seen yet. But I think that is going to be the coffee table. Not too much. I might have to like close him in a little bit when I go to eat dinner, but I think it works. Well, my magical friends, we have built up to this very moment. We have done the decorating. You have decorated with me, per se. And we're here. And I'm about to show you the reveal. And we're going to show you what it looks like with the lights on and then what it looks like with the lights off. A little bit of close-up so you can see all the nitty-gritty, all the magical stuff, spooky magical stuff. But I am so excited to show you this, so let's get that rolling.
Well, there you have it, my friends. We finally did it. Our first ever Harry Potter Dark Arts Halloween. And I just love it. It feels like home. I hope that you love it. I hope that you've enjoyed this process. But if anything, I hope that this has been a reminder to love what you love with everything you have, always. And of course, stay spooky and keep making magic. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.